Turbine conquering Mega Eagle. Hi folks, today I'm making some fittings to mount a mast on top of the container workshop. The mast is for wind turbines to power this little workshop, and I'm going to do the installation of all the electrics and that in a separate video. But I'm just going to do these fittings. I've got some glass fibre poles that I'm going to make a mast out of, and triangulate them so it doesn't flap about in the wind too much. And to bolt the ends of the poles down to the top of the container, I'm just doing some lost foam cast aluminium parts, and then I'm going to bond them into the glass fibre poles. So this is a casting video. Okay, so I've got some discs and some cylinders. I'm going to glue these together. I've got to make some little tabs so the whole thing can articulate, and then we'll bury these in sand and pour aluminium into the foam. Using the blue foam because it gives a much better surface finish than the expanded polystyrene. This might well be polystyrene, this must be polystyrene anyway, but it's a little bit higher density than the really granulated one. I think the granular one is expanded with steam. I don't know how they get this one to expand, but this is a lot better because you can carve it without big chunks falling off and that, you know. You can sand it as well, so well, you see that edge there. Right. Just a couple of seconds with a bit of sandpaper and it comes out nice and smooth, and that'll get replicated by the aluminium. The lovely thing about this process is that you can just use ordinary sand. Like I just use builder sand and it gives a really good result. The extrusions don't give a very good, they don't flow very well, which is why I've gone for such chunky shapes. I have got lots of cast aluminium scrap, like wheels and old mower engines and stuff like that, but I'd like to save them for something that requires like better detail, I suppose. And like I said, I've got to get rid of all these extrusions. The wheelchairs, the number of wheelchairs I've got. Right, I always get wheelchairs because like, they're incredibly bloody useful to like make bits and bobs out of. Like, I've made the steel ones. The wheels are great for starters, like because you can make trolleys and things out of them. And then the steel ones, like because I can weld steel quite easily. I made exhaust for small engines and that. I even made an outboard. I'm gonna get the outboard and show you because it's really fucking cool. You need to see this. It's probably the coolest thing I made out of the wheelchairs here. It's basically a 3 horsepower outboard engine that fits in a bag. Right. It's a big streamer engine. This is a Tecumseh 3 horse streamer engine. Right, I picked that up eBay. Absolute beast. And then the rest of it, I've got a gearbox. You see those are all the adjustable bits off the wheelchairs. Like they've got the gearbox off an old English outboard called a CB. Yeah, it's just so cool. So what happened was when we go, me and my mates, we go canoeing every year. Right, there's normally about 10 of us and that. Right, it's just right, we'll go for like 4 days and that, and like take a load of beer and like get maybe 4 or 5 boats. And I always go in the same boat with my mates Ben and Drew. And a few days before we went, I said to them like, shall we take an engine? They said, yeah, let's take an engine. I said, right, you've got to keep this quiet. Yeah, when we turned up there, and we were canoeing in Norfolk that year, right? So I'm from fairly close anyway, so everyone else came from different directions, right? So we live all over, all over the place, and all arrived in different cars and that, and get all our stuff out, and of course this engine was in a bag, and you know, everyone gets their stuff to the canoes and that, and paddle off, and we've got loads, you know, crates and crates of beer, and you know, our boat, because of this, and like me taking entirely too much beer as normal, like you know, the gunnels of the boat are like that far off the edge of the water. Anyway, like we're paddling along and that, and like I said, you know, we said to the other boats, "I just go on. We've got to repack our canoe and get things a bit better organised." So they all boated off into the distance, and we got this out and like set it up on the back of the boat. And the challenge of making this is like I didn't have the dimensions of the canoes we were going to have, so yeah, that's why it has to be so adjustable to sit on the back of the boat. I didn't want to make something that clamped on the side, because like, that would have just been way too easy, wouldn't it? So anyway, I can't remember how it goes together yet. I think that goes in there. And so yeah, we got this on the back of the boat. Took a little while to get the thing going, and then where's that go? Oh, it's been a while since I made this, you know. Yeah, and then you know, and everyone else was waiting for us about half a mile away, innit? And we go zooming past him, and it's fucking magical. Really, really magical. That basically just sits on there. Just sits on there like that. I think I might be missing a couple of bits, you know. I'm pretty sure I made an exhaust pipe for this as well. Hey, something like that. Well, yeah, loads of bits. But it did work. It did work. I think it'll work again. Yeah, it's not seized up. It still goes. It hasn't got fuel in it. But that was it. Anyway, it's all like the majority of this was built from wheelchairs, so that's why I always save wheelchairs, because they've got some very handy bends and stuff in them. Anyway, this is not at all what this video was meant to be about, so I'll put this away and we'll get back to casting some aluminium. So I'm just getting ready to cast my parts with the deluxe melting pot that I made a little while ago now. This is still one of the most useful things that I've ever made. Temperature controller in the orange box, and I can disconnect that from the heater assembly and that blue fire extinguisher when I need to pour the metal. So oh, okay, it's not earthed very well at the minute. Perhaps I need to check that. Anyway, there's a lovely thing about this. I can disconnect it from the power supply quite easily and still use it. So I'll just keep my hands off all the metal work there for now. Whoops. My foam parts are ready to go. I'm not going to get particularly clean castings out of this. I'm not overly fussed about that. If they're really bad, I can clean them up with an abrasive wheel. But this is going to give me nice big lumps of metal that are the right shape for me to use, and that's all I'm worried about at the minute. It's a very fast way of doing things. I don't think there's any quicker way you can go from having an idea to a lump of metal with the casting process. A few of them are the same, so there's 3 of these. I don't think 3 is a worthwhile number for making up a sand pattern. A pattern out of wood for sand casting. But doing that would give you a much better finish. For me, it's not worthwhile doing that. Again, there's actually 5 of these parts. So any more than that, and I suppose you're definitely better off making a pattern and sand casting them and enjoying a much better surface finish. You can get a better surface finish with the. I could have sanded this a lot better, but like I say, I'm really not too fussed. That portion there is going to get hidden. This is going to be the visible section. So hey, well, I'll just demonstrate how quickly you can cast these. Right, I'm just using the little melting pot. This has only got a 1300 watt element in it, so it does take a little while to heat the metal up. But you know, it's temperature controlled, so I can dump a load of metal in it and just walk away from it really, even there's no real danger of it setting fire to anything or getting the metal too hot, which is great, the whole point of it. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, so this was going to be the mounting flange for the wind turbine itself. This was going to sit on top of the pole. Then I was going to machine this nice and flat, and that'd be the mounting flange. So it needs 4 holes in there to line up with the holes already in the wind turbine. One of the lovely benefits of lost foam casting is you can go from one idea to the next in a matter of minutes. So I just completely redesigned this. So rather than fitting around the pole, which was proving problematic with the extrusions because they didn't like flowing up the thin wall there, I'm just going to do what I've done on the other fittings, and this is going to be a plug instead. So this will go inside. Forget about this square bit. That square bit's just the sprue, the visor, whatever you want to call it. And then it's got some thicker bits here because I'll have to put studs in it or bolts, but either way this will need threading to take the bolts from the turbine. I might even notch out the end of the poles so these rectangular square pieces sit inside the notches. I don't know, haven't decided yet, I'll see how I feel. But yeah, just a lovely demonstration of how quick you can change your mind with this stuff. Don't have to make up another pattern. This is all pretty much freehand, just with a saw and a hole saw as well I used. But I didn't even use the drill on that, I just turned it with my hand. Easy peasy. Okay folks, I've just about finished roughly cleaning up all these parts, so I'll just quickly show you what they're doing. I'm sticking an 800 watt wind turbine on the tops of the container, but I want to mount it at the corner, so I can't use cable ties, cable tie, not cable ties in zip ties, but cable ties as in stays that are cables. Yeah? This has to be poles. So I've got some glass fibre protrusion. Obviously I've got a 6 metre length for this and a few shorter lengths. And the idea is that the turbine will go on top, and then it will just need two solid stays, which will prevent it from flapping around. What we made here was the flange for top. I still need to do a bit of machining on these, but just so I can show you what I was up to. That's got to go on the top. I've got to bore a hole down the centre of it so it can take the cables for the electrical output. So the top of the vertical shaft. The vertical shaft will then have this lugged load collar on it, and about halfway down the pole, and then that will mate up to these. Should go on the sides like that. Yeah. And these are going to go in the tops of the pipe like that. Obviously I've got to drill bolt holes, but I haven't decided what bolts I'm going to use yet, so I can't really do that in a minute. And these are going to be bonded into the glass fibre, and I'm going to use pins as well. So the pins don't want to be anywhere near the ends, because like glass fibre will get fragile towards the end, and it doesn't want to be too far down here. It wants to be pretty much right in the middle of the casting. I'll put pins in both directions, and then same again on the bottom of these. So the vertical and the side stays will all have these at the bottom, and then to mount these onto the container, we've got these pieces here. I've picked up the dirtiest one I have. That one's a bit nicer and cleaner. Okay, and these will just pin on the edge of the container like that, and I'll be able to put a bolt through there, a bolt through the top, and this thing's going nowhere, you know. And oh yeah, obviously these stays will mate up with it like that. So, like, aesthetics aren't the most important thing. I'm not too bothered about these being a bit clumpy and big. I should imagine I've got quite you know, crystalline metal underneath here. I've not seen any evidence of that, but like, I just went big rather than you know, used an excess of material to guarantee success, I suppose, is the best way of putting this. Yeah, no, so yeah, 3 of these basically, one for each of the side stays, and one for the vertical mast as well. Yeah, the reason I haven't done this as a, you know, one big video of putting a wind turbine up, I've just got to get so many bits and pieces together. I was going to do the entire electrical installation as one video, but you know, I got a couple of solar panels cheap, a wind turbine, I got my control board and the battery bank. So what I decided to do is just make all the components individually. And this is the only one I'm going to do a separate video on, because everyone likes a bit of casting, don't they? And then hopefully soon I can just put it all together and do that in one video. You know, I think it'll be a bit easier for people to understand a simple hybrid system that way, I suppose. Anyway, that's lost phone casting, as I'm sure you've all seen it before, but right, this is, you know, an especially crude casting, and you know, it's produced for me valuable components that that hopefully are going to last a long time. Will probably outlast anything else in the system anyway. Okay, alright, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and you know, like and subscribe if you're not already, and yeah, I'll see you again soon, folks. Cheerio, bye bye.